Leaving us? He would be an awesome anchor. So the youth are off to New Day today, as we've already prayed and thought about. I was just thinking, it's a bit of an off-the-cuff kind of thing. I was thinking this morning, a couple of weeks ago, we looked at the battle that was going on. And then we had the prayer meeting that was going on. We had Moses, Aaron, and Hur on that hill praying for success. And I would just love it if this week we can cover what's happening at New Day in prayer and in fasting. So maybe if one or two of you, perhaps just at the end you come and see me, if you could cover a day of the week, Monday through to Friday, with fasting and prayer, I think that would make a huge difference in the lives of these young people. Remember whenever Aaron and Hur held up Moses' hands, Israel was winning, and when the hands were down, Israel was losing. It makes all the difference, guys. So if any of you are able to just commit to come and speak to me at the end, let's just get one or two people Monday or 5 or 10. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Pray, fast. Okay? So we're still in Exodus. We're in Exodus 19, and we're going to be looking at verses 1 through 8. A couple of weeks ago, a few of us went to the Deliverance Conference that Steph Liston was running in Cambridge, and he told this story about how what worship music should I listen to get me in the zone for spiritual warfare, and he couldn't find anything suitable, so he used the Rocky theme tune, which is quite amusing. So the Rocky theme tune became the soundtrack for the day. So every time we had a break, we had Eye of the Tiger, we had Rocky's training, and that reminded me that I used to love the Rocky movies. So I checked the rating on them, and I showed them to my older children. I thought, it's action-packed. All I remember is the boxing. I remember the near losses and then the rising to glory. All action, 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 action. And the series we've been looking at so far has been full of action. We've seen the injustice of slavery. We've seen prayer. We've seen the prince of Egypt converted to Christ. We've seen murder. We've seen exile. We've seen doubt. We've seen snake handling. We've seen miracles and plagues. We have seen sacrifice. We've seen battles. We've seen the destruction of armies. We've seen the sea split in two. We've seen bread from heaven and water from rock. Very easy to follow whenever it's full of action, action, action. But when I showed my children the Rocky movie, they found the first hour of the movie incredibly boring because it was full of detail, 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 detail. Why was it so great that this Rocky became the heavyweight champion of the world? Because his life was going the wrong direction. And we're moving in a season in this series, in this book, from drama to detail. And whenever you look at detail, you can skim over it, and then you can miss some very, very important points. So we can miss the why. God has brought this people, Israel, out of Egypt, out of slavery. But why? Why are you here? Why are you part of this church? Why has he saved you? So there's more to it than just to avoid hell. There's more to it than just to avoid being slaves to the Egyptians. Let's see the why. So, I'm going to read to you from the Word of God. And as I always say, this is the best bit of the sermon. On the third new moon, after the people of Israel had gone out of the land of Egypt, on that day they came into the wilderness of Sinai. They set out from Rephidim and came into the wilderness of Sinai, and they encamped in the wilderness. There Israel encamped before the mountain while Moses went up to God. The Lord called to him out of the mountain, saying, "Thus you shall say to the house of Jacob, and tell the people of Israel, you yourselves have seen what I did to the Egyptians, and how I bore you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. Now therefore, if you will indeed obey my voice and keep my covenant, you shall be my treasured possession among all peoples, for all the earth is mine. And you shall be to me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words that you shall speak to the people of Israel. So Moses came and called the elders of the people and set before them all these words that the Lord had commanded him. And all the people answered together and said, all the Lord has spoken, we will do. And Moses reported the words of the people to the Lord. So here we have a camping trip. They're camping by the mountain. Now, at first glance, we can skim over the importance of this moment. This is a very important moment, this camping trip. This is a goosebump moment, particularly for Moses. And it's something that teaches us about the faithfulness of God. Because you see, Moses has been at this mountain before. He knows this mountain well. He's worked on this mountain. 6 months before this camping trip, Moses was on this mountain and he saw this bush that was on fire but yet not consumed, so he goes closer to have a look. And the Lord speaks to him out of the bush and says to him, remember, Moses is 80 years old. He hears these words, I will send you to Pharaoh that you may bring my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. Moses, I want you to go to the most powerful man on the planet in his day and tell him to release 2 million people, release his workforce and wreck his economy. Moses, as you know, he doubted. I can't speak, I'm too weak, I'm too old, they won't listen to me, he won't listen to me. And the Lord said to Moses this, I will be with you, and this shall be the sign for you that I have sent you. When you've brought the people out of Egypt, you shall serve God on this mountain. Moses, you will be back at this spot. You will be back on this mountain. And when you're back on this mountain, you're going to have the nation of Israel with you. Just think how Moses is thinking here. What's he been through? Rejected by Pharaoh, death threats on his life, grumbling from the people of Israel, hemmed in at the sea, can't get through, people are starving, people are dying of thirst, and yet he stands at the point that God said, I will bring you back to with the people of Israel. Do you know what this tells us about God? No matter what things look like, he's faithful. And he always fulfills his promise. And perhaps you're in a situation where the sea's in front of you and there's nowhere to go. Or you're thirsty or hungry or broken. God fulfills every promise to his people. Be encouraged. The Lord called to him on the mountain, saying, thus you shall say. I want you to speak to the people, and I want the people to know who they are. He calls them the house of Jacob. Remember who they are. You're a family. When you came into Egypt, you were 75 people. You were a big family, but now you're a nation. Now you're the children of Israel. Look what I've done. Remind them who they are. Remind them what they've become. And then he's going to tell them what's next. We're looking into the why. You see, the people have been slaves their whole lives. They've been serving the Egyptian masters their whole lives. Now they are free. Is the Lord going to say to them, eat, drink, be merry, pursue, the American dream or the British dream? Go and do your own thing. Is he going to say that to them? This is what he says to them. First, he reminds them of something. You have seen what I did to the Egyptians. You've seen what I did to your enemies. I warned them. I brought their economy to ruins. I judged their gods, and I destroyed their army that opposed me. But look how I've dealt with you. I bore you on eagle's wings. And this is a little illustration based on nature.